guys, and welcome back to another video on the Center Circle channel. And in today's video, we have another special guest on the channel, and we have Tony. Tony, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, good to hear, bro. First of all, before we even get to the video, do you want to let the people know what you're doing? Because I know you're a busy man, and to get you on the channel is boy. So yeah, just let the people know what you do, bro.
I'm a freelance broadcaster and producer. I'm Dante's colleague at TalkSport as well, amongst other things. I work at Sky Sports and do some stuff at ESPN too. So yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, so appreciate you getting on, bro. So in this video, guys, we're just going to talk about United. I know we are about a week away from the transfer window, and anything can happen. But I know we've just come off the back of United losing to Tottenham. So, Tony, first of all, let's just get on that result. You lot losing to Tottenham 2-0. Was you surprised by the result, or was it coming? Was it expected?
Oh, it was expected 100%. I was out and I saw the lineup and I decided not to watch it because it was expected. I don't think any Man United fan or even Ten Hag can watch that performance we had at Wolves on the first game, play the same lineup and expect different results. Like, I know from a manager's perspective, you think that was a shock result, but I don't think that was, in a sense, what they done at Wolves. Like, the way Wolves played, I thought that's what another team good enough or even better than Wolves would beat us, and lo and behold, it happened. So I really was not shocked about the result. I knew that way when I saw that midfield, and I just saw it, and I was just like, you know what, I'm not even gonna bother watching it because I just know that Tottenham are gonna win, and lo and behold, they did.
Do you think, like, I know there was a couple of decisions in that game where, like, I think it was the Fernandez shot where it was like potential handball. Do you think if the decisions went your way, it could have been a different game?
You can say that, but you can say that about any game. I know, like, when it comes to football, the handball rule is so subjective now, and in that being given in other stages. But I'm not going to use that and be like, United should have had a penalty there, and if we had that penalty, then we would have gone on to win the game, because I don't even think that's the case. I don't like to be like, if my grandma had wheels, she would have been a bike. So you can't really just go on it. Maybes. So it's one of them ones where I don't even look at those decisions and feel like that could have impacted the game that much. But yeah, I do get what you mean. Like, it could have been a different game, but it was a Kanye West, so I guess we'll never know.
Another question I want to ask you is, I know, like, you was talking about the Wolves result, how like Wolves were really dominating. Obviously, Spurs beat you. Do you think like teams will start finding you out very easily? The fact that how Wolves dominated you, how Spurs have beaten you, do you think teams will find out how United play very, very quickly?
Yeah, 100%. And teams have been finding out since last season. The thing is with Man United is our midfield hasn't been great, and hasn't been great for a long time. And even though Man United finished third last season, won a lot of trophies, the games in which we won, a lot of the teams could have come out with better results in that game. We were just a better team and took our chances at the time. So now going into these games, especially, you saw the way Wolves overloaded the midfield. You saw the way Tottenham ran the midfield with Pape Matar and Yves Bissouma. Teams are going to look at that, and as long as we play that midfield of Bruno, Casemiro, and Mount, teams are going to look at that and say that we can easily dribble past them. We can easily overload that midfield and create a lot of chances against this side.
Okay, so yeah, talking about your midfield, I know like you guys have signed a Mason Mount. What do you think of the Mason Mount signing? Because I know there is, I mean, talking about people at work, I know there's some people saying, yeah, it's a great signing, and there's other people saying, yeah, I'm not sure yet. He needs time and he needs to prove us wrong. So what do you think?
I'll be brutally honest. When we signed Mason Mount, and I was at work when we signed Mason Mount, right? And if you ask anyone's reaction, I was fuming. I was absolutely fuming. And the reason I was fuming is because all throughout last season, a lot of the games that Man United won, and a lot of the games that even we didn't win, Ten Hag said how much Man United lacked control in the midfield, how he controlled how much of how sorry he said how much we lacked control in the game. So he was saying that about last season, and then we're thinking, okay, all the midfielders we were linked with at that time, we were linked with like Frankie De Jong. We're like, okay, someone who can control tempo, someone who likes to be on the ball, a volume passer who likes to be picking the ball, picking it up from the centre backs, passing around, blah 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 blah. So that was supposed to be the case. And then next thing you know, we randomly just go sign Mason Mount in June. And I thought to myself, you know what, knowing how Man United are and I know how Man United do transfers, I was just like, you know what, I'm done. And loads of people at work were like, oh, you're overreacting, blah, 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 blah. He's a good player. I was like, that's not the point. I don't think he's a bad player, but he's not the right profile for our midfield. Especially for me, like I watch Man United constantly week in, week out. What I did, I'm not doing it this year. But I watched Man United and I saw the way Casemiro and Bruno play. Casemiro and Bruno are midfielders that don't really have good pass accuracy. Two, they like to play the first time, a lot of first time balls, which Mason Mount likes to do too. So if you're having your whole midfield of trying to play that ball first time, it's not going to work. Like, there's just going to be bass boss midfield. It's just going to be like a war zone. You need at least someone that can calm the down, or even just take the ball or just wants the ball constantly and can calm it down for like 2 seconds and just try and keep the tempo ticking. But if you have that with Mason Mount, it's not going to work. So as soon as we like signed him, I was just like, you know what, I'm like, stop giving Ten Hag money, because Ten Hag is a great coach, but I feel like when it comes to signings and his talent ID is not the greatest, and that's not his fault, because really and truly, you're supposed to have a director of football that works with your manager. I think every other club has it. You can see it with Eddie Howe and Dan Ashworth. You can see it with Arteta and Edu. You can see it at Man City and their director
Mm.
of football. And even when he was at Ajax, he had at least Van der Sar, who was the CEO, and then he
Yeah,
had Owen,
exactly. Yeah.
who was working with him transfer wise.
Mm.
So the fact that he's just doing the transfers himself shows, because at the end of the day, we signed Anthony for 85 million, which it wasn't a great signing when you look back at it. We've signed other people as well. And you're just thinking, no, half of these signings not working. Now, if we signed Mason Mount where we sorted out midfield and we sorted out all of our other issues, we just added a cheeky Mason Mount because we could, fair enough, I'll be happy with that. But trying to make Mason Mount into a player he's not, it's just really put an imbalance in our midfield. And I wasn't surprised I'm not surprised by the results. I'm not surprised by the way we're playing, because I feel like anyone that watched Man United and has watched Mason Mount and just watch it put together just knew what was going to happen. So as soon as we signed him, I was just like, you know what, I'm not going to do this. And that's why I didn't. I watched the Wolves game because I thought, you know what, you've been working on preseason, let me know. And
Yeah.
Hoyland showed me all I needed to know. My optimism just went back to reality, and I was just like, you know what, I'm not doing this, because until we sign another midfielder, this midfield is going to be so imbalanced. And at the end of the day, Man United are linked to another midfielder now who plays in that position that we signed Mason Mount for. So what was the point of signing him for
Yeah,
that?
yeah. That's the thing, because I know like you guys have signed Mason Mount what for 60 mil, and there was like a year left on his contract. And me personally, I don't know why United spend so much money on a player who wasn't getting a look in at Chelsea. Secondly, like is on a last year of his deal, and there's other people saying like he's not as good as a player. But if Ten Hag has bought him, he must see something in him, and that's kind of my stance on with Arteta and Havertz. If you ask me, but. Talking about your other signings, are you happy with the other signings? Like I
Yeah,
know you bought Hoying, the striker from Atlanta. Are you happy about him?
yeah, I am. I feel like he's a raw talent. And from
Mm,
what I watched him in Atalanta, I feel like he's a raw talent he's not going to be coming in and scoring 30 goals. He's not that 30 goal
yeah.
striker because he's still young. And I know people look at the 9 goals that he scored in Serie A, but a lot of the times he was coming off the bench. So it was like probably like 9 goals in like 20 starts. So that's not too bad for a 20-year-old. And I feel
Mm,
like he's got pace and power as well. And we physically have a striker now. One thing Man United barely played last season was a striker. Rashford played a lot up front. Martial barely played any games, and then we had Weghorst, and then even still we started to play Weghorst in the midfield. So we barely played with a striker. So we will now have a striker who's going to be running, who's going to be making those runs that Rashford and other attackers don't naturally make those runs because they're not like a box striker. And I don't even want to say Hoyland is like a box striker, but he has he has those tendencies because that's where he plays. That's his natural position. You can tell when a player plays in their natural position and they feel comfortable in that, in comparison to a player just shoehorning in a position because they need it for the team. So I feel like Hoyland is a good signing, and with Onana as well, I think that's a brilliant signing. I can't believe we've done it because I feel like everyone watched that Champions League final of last season, Inter Milan versus City, and everyone was outstanding. Everyone was Onana played outstanding basically, and everyone was like astonished with that. And everyone was like, he looks so comfortable against the City side who are pressing, and he was just picking balls out left, right, and centre to the midfield. And then lo and behold, somehow Man United signed him. Like no one expected Man United to go get rid of De Gea and then sign him. I think we all thought De Gea was going, but then we didn't expect that we were going to get Onana in. So I'm really happy with Onana, and you can see as well, like although he may be a bit rash in the penalty that wasn't a penalty on the first game. But at the same time, you look at it now and I'm thinking, you know what? We've sorted out that goalkeeper problem. We sorted out our striker problem. We still haven't sorted out the midfield, but if we do, Man United will be a better team than they were last season. And who knows? That could be second. That could be competing. Who knows?
Okay. Quick question. You know, on Hoyen, do you think he's going to be the difference between you lot, like, for example, I don't know, challenging for the league or improving on what you did last season? Because I know the fact that you bought him for 70 mil must mean he has, well, I wouldn't say hit the ground running, but he needs to improve on what you did last season.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like he will improve in what he did last season, even if he doesn't score that much, because now we're actually playing with a natural striker.
Mm.
Last season, we just relied on Rashford scoring goals and that purple patch he had after the World Cup. Now with a natural striker, kind of leaves the pressure of Rashford to he doesn't have to score as many goals, but still it gives someone for Rashford to put the ball in and Rashford to play in his best position, which is the left. So I feel like even though we spent like the 60 odd plus 72 or whatever it is on add-ons and stuff like that, I feel like he will make Man United a better team when he's on the pitch, because now at least Man United are playing with a fit striker, which we haven't really done in a good year and a bit now, which is outrageous to say.
Okay, yeah, because I know, like, with the striker that you've brought in, I know people are gonna say, "Oh yeah, he's gonna flop and stuff," and I feel like you can't like get onto him because first of all, it's the first time he's ever touched the league before. So I feel like you can't judge him. You could maybe judge him off one season, but like you can't say, oh, he's gonna be a flop. Like I know, like with Anthony, I know he hasn't had the season that he was supposed to have, but I've said you have to see how he does this season, then maybe judge him off that properly. Because I know, like with new players coming into the league, you need to like give them at least a season to get used to like the league and stuff. So yeah, so maybe coming towards the end of the video, I want to ask you what's the expectation for United this season with all the new signings that you've brought in and stuff?
As of now,
Yeah, because
well,
like as the time of recording this video, like there's still like a week left of the transfer window and anything can happen. There could be an injury.
well, I doubt it. I doubt Man United are gonna. Maybe they might get a loan if they could get
Yeah,
him,
look at yeah,
or maybe a loan for Gravenberch, which is the midfielder I wanted in the first place before Mount. But we won't discuss
right.
that. One thing I will say is that if Man United can start their midfield problem, I feel like they can kind of compete. I don't know if it's competing for the league. I don't know what it's competing for, but as I said this on ESPN, and I'm going to say it again. Man United finished the league with what 76 points last season. We finished third. That was like 9 behind Arsenal, right? I feel like we sorted out 3 problems from that team, which was, and this is if we sold the midfield, which we kind of have in a sense. But these are my points. We've sold them. We've sorted out our goalkeeper problem. We've sorted out so that's we can take away like the West Ham away loss. We've sorted out when we played Ericsson last season. Ericsson was really bad in the defensive transition, and he
Right.
was really defending, and it was like defending with like 9 men on the pitch when it was Ericsson because he just wasn't running around as much. So we sorted that out with Mount, I guess, if you put Mount in there. And then now we have a striker. So at least Rashford can play off his best position. And now we can actually have a natural striker. So if I look at those 3 things we've improved on from last season, from the 76 points we got from the season before, that's maybe what, 9 points, 3 wins, maybe even 4 wins. Like maybe we don't lose to West Ham away. Maybe we don't lose to Villa away. Maybe we don't draw at home to Southampton. Like all those games we lost, maybe we don't lose to Brentford away again. Do you know what I mean? Like all those losses we have, we can kind of let's say we rectify an extra 12 points. That's if I'm looking at that 76 plus 12, that's 88 points. And I'm looking at that can compete.
Mm,
At the end of the day, if you finish the Premier League season with 88 points, you may not win the league nowadays because you're going to need like 90 plus to win the point
yeah.
win the league. But at the same time, like that's competing, and I'll be
Yeah,
okay with
that is
that.
competing.
I'll be okay with that. But I'm gonna be realistic. Like that sounded pretty realistic if we get like an extra
No, it
20 points.
does. No, like the way how you've laid it out, it does sound realistic. Actually, I think.
It does sound realistic. So Man United can be capable of it. It's just whether they execute it or not. So it's one of them ones that I don't know just yet because at the same time I'm looking at if we keep trying to shoehorn this midfield, it's not going to work. So maybe we'll lose more games than we did last season.
Mm.
But I'm looking at that. I'm like, we've kind of improved. So you know what? Maybe we can compete. I'm not out here saying Man United are going to compete for the title and it's going to go down to the wire. I'm being realistic.
Mm.
I've that. I'm like, you know what? if we're talking progression, we should be progressing. But one thing we need, definitely progression-wise, is we need to see a better brand of football. That is one thing we need to do, whether we get the wins or not. Because Man United won a lot of games last season, and we beat a lot of big teams, whether we like it or not. But the football wasn't that great. And right now, the football has not been great. So we really need to see a better brand of football out of Trafford.
Quick question before you go. When you say like you want to see a better like brand of football, are you saying that because like teams are just playing better than you, or is it just like the style of play? Because I know like United like under Ten Hag last season, I didn't really see like you guys defending as much as maybe like a Conte and the Spurs were doing.
I would say a style of play, because I'm not saying we need to play football like City. I don't say we need to play football like Arsenal, even to say. But I feel like we need to see just more control. I want to see wins where the team didn't have a sniff. Do you know what I mean? Like you saw that with a lot of Arsenal games last season.
Yeah.
You saw that in the first game. I think your first game is, you're an Arsenal fan, aren't you?
Yeah. Also, yeah.
The first game of the season was what, Palace away. I remember.
Yeah.
You won 3-0 comfortably, and you didn't give Palace a sniff.
Yeah.
And I saw that with a couple games in United last season, which was Spurs at home and every single game against Nottingham Forest. Spurs at home, yeah, fair enough, cool, that's Spurs. And then Nottingham Forest are just Nottingham Forest. So of course, like, we were a better team than them, and they didn't have a sniff. But other than that, a lot of the games we won, even if we won 3-0, I remember we beat Leicester 3-0 at home last season, but Leicester could have been 3-0 up way before we beat them 3-0. So I don't want to see stuff like that and like concede easy chances. I just want to see Man United play a better style of football, control the game, and just look comfortable for 90 minutes, which I've not seen often. So that's one thing I definitely need to see this season. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we've got a week in the window, so who knows?
Oh, that's interesting. Like you said, like we still got 4 seasons to look forward to. Anything can happen. But Tony, thanks a lot for coming on the channel, bro. Much appreciated. And yeah, guys, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out Tony. Tony, do you have any Instagram, social, like you podcast, anything you're doing at the moment?
Yeah, I have some stuff coming up, and it will be on my socials. You can just follow me at TONI Toni Afoke, and all will be on there.
Cool. Thanks, Tony. Much appreciated for coming on the channel. And guys, like I said, like and subscribe. And yeah, thanks for watching the video. We're out.
Super goal. Has gone to McAllister. What a strike! And Salah's wriggling in and scoring. This is Stuart Dallas.